Good morning. Today we are starting our next chapter in the Bible, chapter E. We are going to be learning about women of the Old Testament. So some of these stories we've already heard about, and we're going to be looking at it more from the woman's perspective. So we're going to be looking at some stories that we've studied in a different way, and we might be learning about some new women also. So we can see that we have some keywords and definitions as we found on the quiz that we just took. It's important to remember these keywords and definitions and how they relate to our stories in the Bible. Our first keyword is integrity. Integrity is to be faithful and consistent in living out your beliefs and moral principles. You want to live with integrity. You want to be consistently living out your morals, thinking about the Catholic social teachings that I talk about. You want to be living your life that way. Solidarity, the union or fellowship between people that arises from having a common mission and common responsibilities. So solidarity means you are together. You are united in it as one. Threaten, to be a menace or source of danger to. So when we know that word, we know what threaten means. So to threaten somebody is to be dangerous to someone or a menace. Gallows is the wooden frame consisting of a crossbeam on two uprights on which condemned persons are executed by hanging. So when you're reading a poem or you're watching a movie about a long time ago, they will talk about gallows because that was a more common way to execute somebody, was at the gallows. That was just the wooden frame that the person hangs from. We don't have a lot of hangings in the United States today, so we don't really have gallows anymore in the United States. But way back when, before they had the electric chair or before they had the lethal injection, they would do something like the gallows. Nolan. No. We haven't done chapter E. We just quizzed on chapter D. So when we look at our first section and it says Rebecca the planner, how did I start out talking about this chapter? What are we going to be learning about?
The women.
The women in the Old Testament. And I said some of the stories we may have read about already, and we are going to be looking at it from the woman's perspective now. Some of the stories are going to be new. So is that what you were looking at, Nolan, was what we're going to be doing today, the story? Yeah, so this story, Rebecca the planner, we have read about Rebecca, but now we're going to look at it from Rebecca's stand, because we read about it from Jacob. Who can remind me of what this story is about? Who remembers? With Rebecca and Jacob. Brielle.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So let's see if we remember names. So we have Rebecca's the mom, and she's got two sons. Who's Rebecca's husband?
No.
Isaac. So Rebecca and Isaac are married. Isaac is old and going blind. Who are the two sons? Who's the older son? Esau. Who's the younger son, Josie? Jacob. What did we learn about life back then with the oldest? What does the oldest get? Well, he gets the blessing, which is the important thing. So he gets the blessing and the inheritance. So remember, we talked about how an earlier story, Jacob tricked Esau into getting his inheritance. Esau was so hungry, and he said, "Oh, I'll give you this stew if you give me your inheritance." And Esau agreed to it. So then we have this story in Genesis. So now it's about the blessing. So the oldest son gets the inheritance, and he gets the blessing. So what does Rebecca do? Rebecca's the mom. What does she do, Gregory? And what was the goat fur on his arm supposed to do to Isaac? Because Esau had a lot more hair on his arm. So Rebecca told Jacob to put on the goat skin so his arms would be hairier like Esau. So Isaac, who's blind, almost blind, if he were to feel his arms, he would think that it was Esau's arms. Does Isaac fall for it? Nolan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives the blessing to Jacob. So Isaac really believes that it's Esau. So then Esau comes and he's like, okay, I'm ready for my blessing. And what does Isaac say? I already gave the blessing. What do you mean? So what does Esau do?
He wants to go.
He gets so angry that he wants to kill Jacob. Because Jacob has tricked him out of his inheritance. Now he's pretty much stolen the blessing from him, and he gets angry. So what does Rebecca tell Jacob?
To go live with his brother.
To go live with her brother. Who remembers what her brother's name is? Scarlett? Laban. Go to my brother Laban, because I don't want you to marry somebody that isn't one of our people. So go to my brother Laban so you'll marry somebody who is one of our people. Will.
How do you pronounce that? Is it Laban or Laban?
I say Laban. I don't know if it's supposed to be pronounced Laban. I'm not sure. So because we have already read this story, we're not going to reread it as a class. You can look over the story in your Bible and answer these questions. Circle the correct answer that goes with each of these questions. I do want you, I know that we think we remember the story. I do want you to make sure you see the answers in the Bible story. So don't just go by memory. I want you to really look to see if we remembered our story correctly. We gave a brief summary of what we remembered. Double check in the Bible and make sure that we remembered it correctly. Make sure you're remembering it correctly and answering it correctly. For our friends at home, if you do not have your Bible, I have the passages attached. We miss you. We hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.